All right, let's get right into it. For years, there's been this one single promise that has absolutely electrified a political base: the release of Jeffrey Epstein's client list. But that promise, it's just been completely shattered. And in its place, we've got a political firestorm and the revival of one of the darkest conspiracy theories in America today. So we're going to break down what just happened and why it matters.
So this is where it all kicked off. Donald Trump made this huge, powerful promise to his supporters. He said, "You put me back in the White House, and I will release that infamous Epstein client list." And the message, right, it was super clear. Transparency is coming, we're going to drain the swamp, and some of the most powerful people in the world, especially Democrats, were finally going to face the music for what they did. But then, the bombshell. The Department of Justice and the FBI, under the Biden administration, have come out and said that, after all their investigations, no such client list was ever found. The very thing that was promised, that everyone was waiting for, poof. According to them, it was never there to begin with.
And the backlash? Whoa, it was immediate and it was fierce. This has been called a MAGA meltdown, where you've got some of his most dedicated supporters literally burning their hats on video. After years of being told this list was real and justice was right around the corner, this feels like a massive betrayal to them. And it's led to these furious accusations that Trump himself must be covering something up, because the list he promised is nowhere to be found.
So that's the big question, right? What is really going on here? Why did the story just completely flip? And maybe most importantly, why are Trump's biggest fans now aiming all their anger directly at him? To figure that out, we need a quick refresher.
Okay, so if you're not totally up to speed on the whole twisted saga of Jeffrey Epstein, let's just quickly get you caught up on the guy at the center of this whole mess.
So Jeffrey Epstein starts out as a teacher, but then bam, he jumps into investment banking, creating this super exclusive firm back in '82 that only dealt with billionaires. By the '90s, he's rubbing shoulders with the absolute global elite. We're talking presidents, princes, you name it. But in 2005, his dark secrets start to bubble up, with accusations of paying underage girls for sex. Even so, he gets this sweetheart of a plea deal in 2008 and serves just 13 months. It really wasn't until the whole #MeToo movement that he was finally arrested again in 2019 on federal sex trafficking charges.
But here's the thing, he never made it to trial. And that's because of the one event that basically started this entire conspiracy wildfire: his death in a federal jail cell. Officially, they called it a suicide. But I mean, come on. Right away, pretty much the whole country was thinking, wait a second, the timing was just way too convenient. With all these powerful names supposedly about to be exposed, you have to ask, was it really suicide or was he silenced?
Now this is where the official story starts to look like Swiss cheese. First off, the CCTV cameras near his cell, they malfunctioned. Oh, and new footage that just came out shows a 1-minute timecode jump right around that time. Then you have his cellmate, who was conveniently transferred out the day before he died. And get this, an independent forensic pathologist hired by Epstein's own family said the evidence didn't look like suicide at all. He said it pointed to homicide by strangulation. So from day one, this story has been just full of holes.
And you know what happens when there's this much doubt, right? It becomes a political weapon. The Epstein scandal very quickly turned into a political football for both sides to throw at each other.
For years, the story from Trump's camp was pretty simple. The deep state, the Democrats, they're burying the Epstein files to protect their own, guys like Bill Clinton. But now, the script is completely flipped. Since the official word is that no list even exists, critics are now saying Trump was the one lying all along, and that he must be the one hiding something to protect himself and his buddies. And this new theory got a massive boost from none other than Elon Musk. He went on X and flat out accused Trump, saying his name is in those files, and that is the real reason we'll never see them. I mean, that just poured gasoline all over the fire.
And this slide right here, it just lays out the central problem that's making people so angry. You had key figures on Trump's side making these bold promises. Pam Bondi literally told Fox News the client list was on my desk right now for review. Kashyap Patel pledged he would release the files. And now, the DOJ and FBI are saying, nope, no list, case is closed. It's that 180-degree turn that has so many supporters screaming betrayal.
But what if all of this is just the tip of the iceberg? What if this isn't about Democrats versus Republicans at all? What if it's about something way bigger? And that brings us to the most explosive theory of them all, that this was an international intelligence operation.
It all boils down to one pretty chilling question. Was this ever really about sex trafficking?
Or was that just the tool they used for a much darker goal? To control the levers of American power from the outside.
Okay, so here's how the theory goes step by step. The idea is that Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell were running a honey trap for Mossad, which is Israel's intelligence agency. Their job was to lure powerful American leaders into compromising situations, get it all on tape, and gather blackmail material. Mossad could then use that dirt to make sure that American politicians and their foreign policy always stayed friendly to Israel's interests.
Now, people who believe this theory, they point to a few key things they say are, well, pretty suspicious. They say the DOJ memo that shut the case down was released just hours after the Israeli Prime Minister visited the White House. They also point to an old interview where a key political figure, when asked point-blank if Epstein was a foreign agent, gave this really weird non-answer. And on top of that, you've got online sleuths fueling speculation that a top official might have been honey-trapped himself.
Okay, so with all of this chaos swirling around, with all these conflicting stories and wild theories, you have to wonder, what in the world happens now? Where does this all go?
Well, the story might be far from over, because there's one huge wild card still in play. Ghislaine Maxwell. Word on the street is that she's thinking about cutting a deal to testify before Congress. If she decides to talk and tell them everything she knows, that could set off a political earthquake.
Look, no matter what you believe is the real story here, this whole mess makes two things absolutely undeniably clear. First, the incredible level of hypocrisy in American politics, where the story can just flip on a dime whenever it's convenient. And second, just how easily the public can be taken for a ride only to be told later that the thing they were promised was never real.
And that leaves us with one final, pretty dark question that people are asking. If a president gets backed into a corner by a scandal this huge, what's the ultimate get-out-of-jail-free card? After all the lies and political games, could a new war be the ultimate distraction? It's a chilling thought. And honestly, only time is going to tell what the next chapter of this story holds.